Taking a look at the Thrunite T10 version 2 here. This is a very small, or relatively small, EDC flashlight. Just to give you an idea of the size, there is my phone. Gives a little bit of a size comparison to the light there at 3.4 inches and 1.4 ounces. It is a AA powered light. So typically what that means is you're going to have an affordable light. Some guys really prefer the AA over the more higher end batteries, I guess we can say, the CR123 18650, for example. AAs are typically more available. They're easier to get. And for me personally, around the house, we've got AAs everywhere just because of the kids' toys. So that's where these AA flashlights come in really handy, is I've always got a power source. You know, if the lights were to go out or something like that were to happen, I've got plenty of batteries, no worries there. Side switch for the activation of the light. Now, one thing about this side switch is you do have this area with the octagonal section of this light. I personally, it's not very prevalent to me when I run my thumb over it. So in the dark and I'm fishing for the light to turn it on, it's hard for me to tell where that button is. It's not a very tactile feel. But what I do with flashlights like this is I take the pocket clip, I orient it opposite of the thumb button, and that way when I get it, I can feel that and go, okay, I know opposite of that. Some guys I know will line it straight up like this. Boom, you just run right into it. Kind of up to you how you want to run the light that way, but that's how I overcome when these lights, the switches themselves, are kind of tough to fill. You can see you got the nice knurling here. This is a pretty standard knurling that you find on a lot of lights. It feels pretty good. It's done well. And the pocket clip, we're going to talk about where they've got it right, where they put thought into it, that I really like it. And ultimately, at least on this flashlight, well, I do not like the pocket clip. So let's talk about the good stuff first. This light, as you can see, can tail stand, but look at the pocket clip and see where they've made it bend. They've made sure it's flush with this bottom so you can tail stand it. Great job. I like how where it comes down and it just mates into this section. I think that's a nice touch as well. So this pocket clip is reversible. If we put it on this end, same thing, it mates here, but also where the end of the pocket clip terminates doesn't interfere with the tail stand. Now, part of that really isn't so much the tail stand per se, but there is a magnet in the bottom of this light. You guys know I'm a sucker for the magnets. I love those things in my EDC lights. I've personally never had a problem with any magnetic flashlight with a base. I've heard some other guys have, but personally I've never experienced that. I'm not talking about Thrunite specifically, I'm talking about magnetic bottoms in general. But for me, it's an extremely valuable piece of the flashlight that I just seem to find new uses for it constantly. Originally, if you say, yeah, it's got a magnetic bottom, I'd say, oh, well, yeah, it's kind of nice. But now that I have flashlights with it, it's tough to go back to flashlights without the magnetic bottom. So not the strongest I've experienced, but it's strong enough to work and do the job. Now, back to this pocket clip. If you look right here, see where it's kind of bent out underneath the pocket clip? When I put it in my pants at first thing I noticed was this. See how it kind of kicks up? It doesn't really hug the flashlight itself. I've tried bending it in, but this kind of bends back out. So it bugs me, and I don't like that at all. I did talk to Thrunite about it, and they've said they've received similar complaints about it and have fixed that problem. So assuming that problem is fixed, everything else about the pocket clip works well, is well thought out. Like, again, being a magnetic, you'd have to make this flush so it doesn't interfere with that connection, but also you can do the tail stand. So this version, now that pocket clip has got to go. That's not going to work for me. So if you're thinking about picking this up, I would just make sure that that is not an issue moving forward. Other than that, this little, AA EDC light, 20 bucks, is really not a bad buy. Functions on this is you've got Firefly, press and hold. You got 5 lumens. That's what it should be. Coming into, we'll move it down to, that's your low mode, 5 lumens, 2.5 days. Press and hold. That'll bump you up to the medium, 35 lumens for 6 hours. Now, if you press and hold again, that drops you back down to the low. Press and hold, medium, press, hold, low, medium. To get to the high, you have to be in medium, double click. That gets you 180 lumens for 95 minutes. When you're on high, double click again, and that gets you the strobe at 180 lumens for 200 minutes. So that's the operation of the flashlight. Pretty straightforward, not a lot of functions. And again, a lot of people really like that. Just, hey, give me a flashlight that's simple. I hear that so often. I hate all the functions. Give me something simple. Well, that's pretty straightforward and simple there. And let's go ahead and take a look at the night shots. Start the night shots off with the medium mode there. And so you got kind of the hot center. If I move that around, you can see, so the picture there on the left, you can see that spillage. And then the hot center there on the tomahawk. Drop it down to the low mode. Now, it's not picking it up quite as well in this mode, the camera, but you still get the spillage over to this picture, just slightly. And then we'll jump back up to medium, then we'll go to the high. Kind of point it at the ceiling, get an idea of how much that's reflecting off. And then, of course, there's your strobe. And then Firefly mode. Not much in focus, but gives you an idea. That 0.5 lumens. Small little AA flashlight. It's really, overall, I like the light. Again, keeping in mind that this is 20 bucks. It's a great little light. Just this is the only hang up that I have with it. I love the magnetic bottom. Again, for a small EDC $20 flashlight, good feature to have. Simple operation. Use pocket clip to help align and tell you where that side switch is on. Get this fixed. And definitely, I think this is a great little flashlight for 20 bucks EDC. Running the AA's, it won't break the bank. There it is. Thanks much for watching, guys. Trying to keep this one short. See ya.